So I wanted to do a special kind of video today. I have done something like this previously, but this is because I want to talk to you today about a band who I recently saw live, a very small local band who are upcoming in my opinion, but they've also just had their second single come out, and I think this single is really worth talking about. Yes, it has all the hallmarks of a band who are very young and starting, but it also has a lot of the hallmarks of a band certainly worth watching. In fact, the first time I ever spoke about this band was in one of my videos, which I think it was the second one of my Japanese bands you probably haven't heard of, who you should check out. I spoke about them then. They really enjoyed that video. They responded to it when they saw it online. And so I agreed to come to their show. And often when you get bands like this who are, you know, quite new and you're recommending them, you're kind of thinking, well, I'm recommending them because I hope it's going to be really good, but you never know what you're going to get when you actually see them live and when they start releasing more singles. Is it going to live up to all the hype? And well, you know, so far this band, Caramel Candid, they have been living up to a lot of the hope, and I would say more so. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the live show, but first of all, let's talk about their song that just came out, which the name translates to Headlight Fireworks. They've posted the lyrics for this online, so I'll try to remember to post them so you can see them somewhere around here too as well. They post them in English, which they've really noticed that some of you guys have been looking at their material and they're really happy about having English-speaking fans because this band is tiny, like a few hundred subs most of all, I think. Anyway, let's start by talking about their latest song, Headlight Fireworks. This is kind of the absolute definition of a song that you really should listen through all the way to the end, because of the fact that when it starts off, it perhaps won't grab you as being particularly spectacular from the beginning. The reason being, it's got that kind of low distortion, jangly, melodic pop rock song sound that is very, very familiar in Japanese rock at the moment. In fact, it seems almost every new band starting up is doing this sound. However, they set themselves apart a lot from their writing. Now, another thing that you might notice from the get-go is that the recording quality, it's nice, but you know, there's a slightly unpolished feel to certain parts of it. There is a particular part of the guitar which is just, I'm not sure if it's 100% perfectly tuned. It's good enough, but you know, you can't listen to it. It's not like that absolute pitch perfect tuning that you get from, like, you know, high-end expensive recording. So this definitely has a bit of a garagey feel to it. It has a bit of a familiar feel to it, but as I say, it sets itself apart as the song goes on. Now, the first thing that is really worth pointing out about Caramel Candid that definitely shows in this song is that they have a fantastic grasp on how to use their four-piece sound. The vocalist, she's got kind of a high-set voice, but she sings with a surprising amount of passion, and their melodic work is usually very well written. And this is one of those songs where you'll find it, the first thing you'll probably notice is it starts getting, you know, kind of really catchy into your head, and not in an irritating way, just in a way that makes you want to sing along. Then the rhythm as well, really, that helps so much. The rhythm here, it's not just like you get with a lot of up-and-coming bands, just 1 2 1 2. There's kind of these nice little stop-start rolls that you can start predicting as the song goes on that are really fun, you know, where it goes stops and then back in. You know, you'll hear this as you hear the song. There's just a lot of playful ideas in the song that are, they're not chaotic, they're inviting. They feel very engaging. They feel like they make the song more interesting, but not in a sort of try-hardy kind of way. This is a band who are not trying overly and, you know, trying to blow you away with doing excessively experimental things and showing how great they are. And at the same time, they're not just one of those bands who stands there jangling along going, hey, we've got a good melody. This should be enough to make us famous, right? This is a band who seem to have a nice balance of accessible and well-written songs with, as I pointed out, a nicely delivered emotional feel to the lyrics. In fact, that's the first thing I said about the very first single they released, was I really loved how much emotion the singer manages to convey in her voice. Now, this all particularly comes to fruition because, like I say, you should listen to the end of the song. And the reason being is that it feels like the song kind of rotates through that fun little formula it sets up at the beginning. It rotates through that for a few minutes. But then as we get to the end, there's this nice build-up, and then it goes through a couple of unexpected key changes, and it really ramps up to quite a rewarding conclusion. I mean, halfway through the song, you're just kind of expecting it to, oh, it's just going to do this fun thing, it's going to play this fun little melody through until it stops. No, they have a nice little ending planned for it as well. So I think this is a rewarding single. It's a very catchy song, but it has an ending to it as well. It does more than just sort of cycle through a catchy melody over and over again. So for me, this was a maturely written, interesting, accessible, just a really great single for a band who are as young as they are. And boy, are they young. So let me point out how I found that out, because as I said, I went to see them perform live the other day, and boy, were they impressive. Now, as I pointed out previously, this is a band who they do not put their photographs on the internet. They keep their faces hidden, which I suspect is probably because of the fact that they appear to be very young. They did do one photo shoot which was put out, but it seems that they're controlling who takes the photographs, and that's absolutely fine by me. In fact, I actually have quite a lot of respect for that as well, sort of letting your music do the talking. So I only had a little bit of an idea of what to expect from the image of them, which was from the first song, which seemed like a really sort of meaningful, heartfelt ballad. And then there's one photo shoot where they're dressed up in these pink dresses, looking very sort of almost like an idol group. And it was hard to put this together. What am I going to get when I arrive? Well, I turned up at the venue, and walking around is a nice venue. There's quite a few bands on the set list. I think there was 6 bands for the night. And Caramel Candid were kind of around about the beginning to middle of the set list. So I knew they were going to be on fairly soon. But then I noticed them walking around, talking to people, as bands often do in these sort of smaller venues, talking to people pre-show while everything was being set up. And there they were in the pink dresses from the photo shoot. I was like, wow, that was not just for the photo shoot. That you're taking that full on seriously. They spotted me. I don't sort of go over, and I'm not like overly pushing myself on artists, because you've got to let them do their thing, especially when they're starting out. Let them talk to their fans. Let them talk. They might have friends at the gig as well. Don't just be over there like, hey, I've seen you from the internet. So I just kind of, stood to one side, but pretty clear that I stand out in some ways. You don't get many people like me in live houses. Anyway. They clearly clocked me, and they walked over, and it was the singer and the drummer who spoke to me, and they were both very polite, very nice. Oh, thank you, we saw your video. Had a chat to them. I mean, at this point, you could kind of say, because Japanese people tend to look good for any age, but looking at them, I was like, these ladies are definitely very, very young indeed. I'm sure of that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're very young, and they just carried themselves as being incredibly mature. Now, I said this previously when I was at the Gambit show. Gambit are definitely older than these guys. I would put money on that, and I'm not a gambling man. But these guys, very young, but very just kind of very mature. They were kind of fun, upbeat, and then they just kind of looked nice and polite. When they got on stage, the personality really started to shine. Now, they had moments to freak out, because this was their first ever live show. So you can imagine there'll be a little bit of tension. And when they were setting up, there were some tech problems that they had to work with. And there were some problems with, you could see like one of the songs they wanted to play. Ironically, it's this single. There was a bit of a disagreement on what key they were playing it in. And all these kind of things that were real sort of first show. And I was kind of nervous, like, oh, I really don't want anything to go wrong for them. But you know what? The minute it kicked in, the minute their set started, those lights went down, their cue came in for them to start, absolutely nailed it. Now, there's some clips of them playing live that they posted online, and it's beautifully videoed so you can't see their faces, because that's what they want. So, by the way, in the photographs of me with them, which I will post in this video, their faces will not be included, out of respect. I actually asked them before doing this, and they said, yeah, we prefer not to. So I said, that's fine. So I keep their faces blocked, so just in case you wonder why I was hanging out with a bunch of people with no faces at that show. But, when you see that video or hear that video, you hear that, yes, they sound like a relatively new indie band. But the song crafting is brilliant. The emotion that delivered in the song was fantastic. And this was from a band playing their first ever live show. And I promise you, this is a venue which had 5 other people playing in the same set list. Everyone in the crowd wasn't all just their friends. It wasn't like they were just playing to friends and family. They had people who were supporting other bands. Some of the bands, it would appear, were more popular. At least one was. And so as a result, they had other people's fans in that audience as well. They were playing to the other bands who they might not even known. They might have just been put on a sort of set list for new artists with these other bands. It was interesting because there was every chance for these young ladies to freak out, and especially after the tech problems they had at the beginning. But they just went for it, and they delivered a really fantastic set. And I must point out, all their songs were really great. And then when it finished, you know, it was so nice that, so that they were kind of in the early midsection of the set list, like I say. And then there was another band who I think was the band after them was quite popular, so they had a lot of people following them. And as that band, I think, was finished, there was some people who started leaving the venue early, which I thought was a bit. I'm not a big fan of people who do that. It does happen here occasionally, but you know, it was like one of those ones where the most noisy part of the gig of the entire evening was right in the middle. The beginning and the end were the quietest part, so you could tell there were some people who were just coming for certain bands and then leaving when they were done. But it was interesting to see the girls from Caramel Candid. They stayed, I could probably expect the entire thing, but they didn't just stay in the back room. You know, as they were just sort of got themselves sorted and, you know, did whatever their post-show thing was, they came out and they stood there supporting the other bands. Right up until the very end, they were standing there supporting the bands. And I was just taken by that. I was taken by the fact that they, you know, I mean, yeah, the adrenaline is pumping, but they could have just been sort of sitting backstage, laughing out, like, wow, we did our first show, and just sort of giggling and being friends, and you know, just sort of reveling in that. But no, they straight out back into the hall, back into the room, back into the crowd to support the other bands. I've said this a lot. I said this about Gambit, although the whole thing with Gambit was very different. But you know, the one thing that really struck me was the particular way that they had such kind, warm personalities. And again, it was the case with Caramel Candid. And this is not to say not all Japanese bands are like this, but it is interesting how sometimes you just come across, you hear a really good band and they tend to be good people. There seems to be some sort of connection between that. I just found them to be lovely, very pleasant young people with a lot of talent. And I genuinely think that we never know with bands like this. You know, bands like this, they can break up for all kinds of stupid reasons. Who knows? Maybe they'll go on to do things after the band breaks up and do very different things. But I think this could be one of those bands they could, you know, like a Scandal style thing where they all stick together for ages and they just become like, you know, a band who follows this journey all the way together. Whatever happens, I think there's a lot of potential on offer for all of the members. They have a fantastic image. Again, give them credit for the fact they turned up. They had these dresses and everything sorted out. They have their band image nailed, which none of the other bands there did. Yeah, I'm not saying anything against the other bands. There were some good bands there. But none of the other bands had such an identifiable, striking, and immediately recognizable image. So, yeah, I have a lot of credit for them. They stood and took some photographs with me at the end, which was really kind of sweet of them. They just came across really well. And for any idiosyncrasies you might notice in their music, I think there's a lot more potential. There's a lot more signs of a band who think about their songs, who craft their songs, who know how to make a song that's catchy, who know how to make a song that's engaging, who know how to convey emotion and have emotion to convey. So, yeah, I have a lot of positive feelings. So anyway, this was another one of those ranting videos I sometimes do when I see one of the bands I've been hyping up. When I finally see them live, I like to just sit down and have a little chat about them. So hope you enjoyed that. And of course, they have the new single as well. I'll try to remember to link that, but do go check out that new single. It's one of those ones where, as I pointed out, at first you might be like, oh, okay, this is normal. Oh, okay, it's kind of average recording, blah, blah, blah. But by the time you got through it, you'll really appreciate it. And credit as well, the video is really good. It's one of those sort of handheld, very homemade looking videos, but it's really good. I really liked it. And they took advantage of the recent Sumida Fireworks Festival, which unfortunately I had to miss because I was doing da-da-da-day stuff. But still, they took advantage of that and they did a really good job filming that. So, and put that in the video. So it's a really spectacular looking video in places as well. So yeah, definitely go support them. I hope you've enjoyed this little rant from me. Feel free to ask any questions you might have. They are really engaging with overseas fans. Now, I don't believe they really speak English. They had a little bit of broken English that they tried to use with me. So, yeah, but engage with them. They got social media. They got a Twitter. I think they might have an Instagram as well. Go engage with them. They're really interesting people. And if you want to hear their song first one. If you want to hear more, they will be very open to talking to you about it. And yeah, so there you go. And I look forward to seeing you in Japan for another one of these videos. Could be one like this, could be a different type, could be a review. I've got lots of different types of videos we're doing on the channel at the moment, which I'm really happy about. But until I do, hopefully see you in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.